Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this video. As you already know, ArgoCD and FluxCD both are some really popular tools for deploying applications to Kubernetes by using the GitOps principles. When you're managing your production applications using either ArgoCD or FluxCD, you usually have a ton of different applications which are spread across multiple different clusters. Visualizing all of those applications can become a pain. With Devtron, you have the ability to list and view all the applications that are deployed via ArgoCD and FluxCD. So right here, for example, you can see that there are two ArgoCD applications deployed. One is the Guestbook Helm application, and the other one is the Guestbook UI. Let's inspect the Guestbook UI application. You can see here that all of the resources are visible and they are all categorized into their logical sections. The workloads have got all the deployments, the pods, and the networking section has all the networking resources such as your services and your endpoints. Similarly, Devtron lists all the applications of FluxCD which are connected to the different clusters. Here you can see that both these Flux applications are in the Google Cloud cluster. I can inspect the pod info application. And over here as well, I can see all of the different resources and they are categorized into their own sections. I can also see that there are some progressing resources such as the ingress resource and a couple of resources are missing as well. Being able to visualize which resources are still being created or the resources which are missing from the cluster is really useful when you want to debug the application. Let's say some CRDs are missing. In that case, you know exactly which CRDs you would want to go ahead and apply. Additionally, when you want to debug individual pods, you can also you can inspect the logs, you can view the manifest files, you can check out the events of the pod, and you can also spin up a terminal within the pod. If you have got multiple containers, select the container which you want to debug, and you can also select which shell you want. Many times when you're running your applications in production, you would trim down the container image quite a lot so that you're running a very lightweight container within your Kubernetes cluster. In such cases, you may not even have access to a shell environment. How are you going to debug your applications when you don't have access to a shell? For this, Devtron lets you launch an ephemeral container. It will inject a container into the pod using your preferred images. We have these base images which you can use, or you can even enter a custom image and use that for debugging. And it will spin up the ephemeral container which will let me debug this particular pod. Apart from visualization for just the Flux and Argo CD apps, Devtron has a robust support for managing and deploying Helm applications. The pod info application is deployed as a Helm release. So let's inspect this pod info app. You can see that the pod info is visible under the Helm app section. And if I click into it, I can see all the different resources of this application. Since it's a Helm application, Devtron will also let me configure this application as I want. Devtron's resource browser also gives you visibility into the multiple Kubernetes clusters. So right here, I have two Kubernetes clusters. One is my default cluster and another cluster is running on Google Cloud. So I can inspect this cluster running on Google Cloud and I can get visibility into all of its nodes and the workloads as well. And similar to the applications, these are all grouped into their own logical sections.